I knew someone was there. What's going on, guys? It's Chad back here on some more Modern Warfare. I'm wearing the same clothes because I haven't slept yet, so I mean, got some inspiration to talk about this whole thing since it's such a topic at the moment. I'm seeing all the tweets, and after, you know, using it for a little while, so I'm not really sure what's going on in Warzone since I've been in multiplayer all day, you know, getting the level ups and all that other stuff. All the things that you ended up seeing there in the intro, if I even bothered to edit it together anyway, are just from the past couple hours or whatever. Streaks and splits and 5-ons and whatever, swaps and shit. So the hot topic at the moment with this sniper rifle, it already statistically by itself is a pretty good gun. Like overall, its speed, its mobility, its power, everything, it's the best in its class. But there's something extra that goes on top of all of that. In the end, with this gun, there is something that you can use to push it even further, which I didn't realize it was doing the entire time that I've been using it. Things that I'm talking about here, I'll back out of the game, whatever. It was a good lobby, but the thing that I'm talking about here is the ammunition over here, the Norma and Lapua rounds, or Lapua, or I'm not entirely sure. The 338 rounds, basically. These are the heavy hitting rounds. Now, this is kind of weird because we don't usually have, you know, ammo for sniper rifles, especially, or marksman rifles anyway, to increase its power. We don't usually have that kind of setup. So I found out, or it felt like to me, that whenever I decided to just throw these on just to see if they make any difference in that, you know, video where I was testing it when I was initially using it, it felt like maybe from the stomach up, I was getting one shots. I was taking my time trying to aim it in certain areas, and it felt like to me this does more damage. And from what I've heard from the statistics type people, this actually does increase your damage overall to give you a multiplier to the stomach as well, so you can actually hit somebody basically just in the torso and get a one shot. On top of that, it gives you, you know, bullet velocity and the range. It also says that it hurts your aim down sight speed, but it doesn't really seem that way. It turns out that both of these, but in particular the Lapua ones, these are the ones that I like to use. These are the ones that seem to make an actual difference to me. Let me explain basically what this bug is. Basically, the bug is that, at least it seems like it's a bug, up to I think 425 or 450 meters. If you put either one of these on, you now have made a sniper rifle that is now hit scan. And what I mean by hit scan is basically up to over 400 meters, you can take a shot, and the difference between shooting somebody 20 meters and 400 meters, there is no difference. The bullet will connect all at the same time. Instant. True gun data, or something about gun data. I apologize if I'm fucking up his name, but he did an entire video on it actually explaining the entire thing. But basically, if you are good enough to just land the headshots, just like if you were using the Kar 98 before, this thing is ridiculous. Apparently, past I think 425 or 450 meters, the bullet literally disappears. So it goes from a laser to nothing. There is nothing. So that's what makes this whole thing seem like it's kind of bugged. But, you know, since I'm running around in multiplayer with this whole thing, I've landed on a setup with this thing in here. Now, I didn't know about this bug, okay? But I had a class setup that I was running that you would even actually see in the clips, but I actually recently changed it again. But I'll show you guys what I was running before. So I was running, most people are running something like this. I'm not entirely sure overall, you know, pros and cons wise, what's faster, what's more mobile, what has a faster movement speed, what has more damage, or whatever it may be. 10-round magazine. This is what a lot of quick scopers will be running around with. Try to hit, you know, the infamous 10-man, or even go on even further than that, or whatever. You got the bolt assembly on there to shoot as quickly as possible, the tac laser, and of course, you know, the sniper scope or whatever. This is the usual thing that people are running, but I decided myself, for a lot of those clips that you'll see, you'll end up seeing me have a class that is actually this one right here. This was the class that I was running before. Now, it doesn't seem like this class setup actually has a ton of speed overall as like your ADS speed. Where's your stock? Where's your barrel? All that other stuff. But surprisingly, this thing is fast without it. Even just having the tac laser by itself, it's great. Scopes in fast enough to be able to use this feather, you know, bolt assembly thing to be able to, that speeds up your rechamber speed. You can ADS fast enough to keep up with the rechamber speed on this thing. This was the class setup that I was using, you know, during a lot of those clips that I had yesterday, and maybe even a few of them today, but I landed on something new recently where I've actually gotten rid of the bolt assembly. I know it sounds disgusting. I'm a little disappointed in myself that I'm taking it off, and even though I'm saying that it's fast enough, this stock in particular is incredible. Now, the fact that this thing is a marksman rifle, you already have really fast movement speed when you're ADS'd, but I'm saying on this game where so many people hold corners, you can do a whole lot of like scope walking on corners, and you can kind of do like this thing where if you have enough enough movement speed, you can really like do cheesy shit with this thing when you're hard scoping corners. So I got rid of the bolt assembly. I realized in a lot of situations, if I'm in a scenario where I would have to absolutely need that bolt assembly where it made a true enough difference, I would likely die in those scenarios anyway. Depending on whatever it is that you want to build this like, that's up to you. But that's the thing that I really like about this gun. In particular, this gun, you can build in a lot of different ways, and I love that. But this is the one that I've landed on recently, so I've also still been using this top-notch one. I really like this sight. So I know a lot of people are thinking in a sense where it's like, okay, well, what's the big deal? Even if it is hit scan, you know, in multiplayer, why does that even matter? It's so close that the bullet travel time and the speed and everything like that, most of the time it doesn't matter, but I'm telling you. And while you're basically right, you're not completely right. Even though it travels in such a fast speed that is likely even below 1 frame, the difference in margin of error, we as quickscopers and shit like that, and being a professional basically at taking your crosshair, placing it on a player anywhere, and then hitting right trigger as quickly as possible, as accurately as possible, making it hit scan versus giving it a tiny bit of bullet travel is huge, especially when people start incorporating movement into the entire thing. Maybe this whole thing was intended. Maybe as a balance thing, over 400 plus meters, they decided, right there, fuck it. We'll just make them disappear into thin air right there. That'll be its cap. To be honest, this thing is overtuned in basically every single way, but I have no idea if they're actually going to nerf it or not, or if that whole, you know, hit scan deal is kind of just intended. That whole thing where the bullet just straight up disappears, that's what makes it seem buggy to me. So, I mean, that's why I'm gonna have to agree with, you know, True Gun Data and J God. He was the other one that I ended up watching on the whole thing and reading some tweets and stuff like that from other people. Whenever we got a sniper rifle on here, it always felt like we were just getting the short end of the stick, okay? Something just felt, there was always some kind of trade-off or something. The ride tech, we don't need to talk about the ride tech. The ride tech is still broken to this day. It almost seems like it doesn't even matter what barrel you even have. I mean, these guys are out here testing it with like the shortest barrel with like lightweight and damage reduction and all this other stuff. But it doesn't matter if you hit somebody in the skull. Man, if I were like an avid solo player, like solo sniper, ran around and stuff like that, getting highlights and things, I would be having so much fun with this thing. Because if me, my miserable ass is having fun in multiplayer with it, I'm sure all given, I mean, I'm sure getting, you know, tapped by hackers or whatever are, it's probably still not very fun. That scenario right there where I took that shot, even no scoping is easier because of hit scan. Now, no, hit scan isn't a thing where it's like considered cheating. It's just like in comparison to the rest of the weapons in the game that don't really have hit scan, even though you can build up some weapons to be virtually hit scan. Yeah, it's a pretty big advantage. All those times where it feels like I'm on somebody and I took a shot and it doesn't connect, it has to do with all these little scenarios and combinations of variables that make it that way. But if it's hit scan, my accuracy is rewarded immediately. It feels great. I feel like I'm playing an older Call of Duty again. Just by using a different gun though, and it starts making me think now, I mean, I don't necessarily have a problem with bullet travel or anything like that, by the way. I'm not really complaining about it. I don't necessarily see it as like a bad step for COD or whatever. I don't think it's absolutely necessary, but in things like Warzone makes complete sense. But for the multiplayer side of things, we were all used to playing hit scan way before this. So to go back to using something that at least feels like it, if it's like pseudo hit scan, apparently you can see the bullet traveling, but that's not even actually where the bullet is. The bullet already hit him. It's nuts. It's just so nice and ironic that finally, when we get something broken, it's something good broken for once. For now, until everybody starts complaining about it because people are getting just popped with the thing left and right. Apparently, they recently did a ban wave. I have no idea how many hackers they actually banned in that wave, but I haven't ran into a hacker in days at this point in multiplayer. See, right there, I'm telling you, if I took a shot with any other weapon, I was on him. That's why I killed him. But any other weapon, the bullet would have taken just a second too long. It would have taken just a hair too long to actually hit that guy, even though I was already on him. Those are the small little situations where I know in myself, in my gut, that I hit them. I can feel it. I've lied to myself for a long time about a lot of different shit. I don't need to lie to myself about this. Now I'm curious how hard this thing hits with these stopping power rounds. You could probably hit somebody in the foot with this thing and kill him. Maybe, maybe not. You probably can. You could probably still get a hit marker. Given I haven't seen the damage number, so who knows. I wouldn't be surprised if this thing at some point, if you shoot some certain model in the left hand, you do negative 500 damage and actually heal people or some shit. I don't. We're playing Overwatch now. Who gives a shit? I obviously hate to encourage encourage people to go and use, you know, some cheap things or things that are considered cheating or broken or whatever it may be, but I mean, I'm sure people are already using it anyway. I mean, it's not like it's as broken as that FAMAS shotgun, or we could go down the list. Would you rather fix this or revert the origin? I stand by my case.